One more minute and then we'll get started. We're going to do a quick introduction of ourselves, of our name, firm, and general location. And then I have a few questions to get us started on strengthening our data. Okay, so I'll go first. I am Courtney Vance. I'm a senior project manager at Sept Consulting. I am in North Texas, roughly, and I'm just going to go down the list here. So next I have Jenny Shu.
Hi, I'm Jenny, obviously. I work for Teeter. I'm a marketing specialist in Fresno, California.
Excellent. And next I'll go to Leah Carula. Apologies if
I know, no, it's a tough one. I'm Leah Carula, and I'm marketing pursuit manager at UMC. We're a mechanical contractor north of Seattle.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And next, Amber Emily.
Hi, I'm Amber Emily. I work for Cross Anderson construction company based out of Minneapolis. And Natalie, who's also on, we are co-workers. We work at the same company, and we're both in our marketing information specialist group.
Okay. Next, Anna Crabtree. We'll come back to you, Anna. Erica Curtis.
Hi, I'm Erica. I'm the Marcom specialist at CKC. I'm in Portland, Oregon. And was there anything else that we wanted to say?
Nope, that was it. We're gonna keep it short and snappy today.
Super.
Next, Leah Simpson.
Hi, Leah Simpson, project manager at Sept Consulting. I'm in Miami, Florida.
And Michelle Redmond Holcomb.
Hi, I am Michelle Redmond Holcomb. I am the marketing specialist for Foundation Technologies. I just recently changed from marketing manager, so I'm digging into our CRM a little bit more. And I'm
Fantastic.
Trying to learn all I can learn.
Well, happy to have you.
Yeah.
Let's see, Natalie Price.
As Amber said, I'm Natalie Price. I'm with Crouse Anderson, a general contractor out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm also in the Marketing Information Services group.
And Nicole Stevens.
Hi, I am Nicole Stevens, and I work for WGI, and I am data management and everything CRM, from CRM administrator to implementation to all things CRM. And I am down in South Florida, right up the way in Palm Beach County.
Okay. And next I have Ricky.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ricky Olivares. I'm with Cleary's Enrollment Engineers, and I'm a proposal coordinator based out of San Antonio, Texas.
Okay. And I'll introduce Anna. She says she's having some tech complications. So she works for Satterfield Ponticus Construction. She's a GC out of Houston, and she's data management CRM for her company. Okay, so if you've never been to CRM chats before, this is kind of an open forum discussion where we ask some conversational questions, and then we all share tips or tricks or experiences. And then depending on how the conversation goes, we may ask follow-up questions or dig a little deeper into the response. So the first question I have is kind of an easy one. I know that there are a few CRM data management people on the call, so I would expect that you guys would probably have an answer to this, but are you checking in on your data regularly? And if so, what's your frequency? What's your cadence? And if anybody wants to unmute and start, it's open floor.
What do you mean by checking in on your data?
So what I mean by checking in on your data is reviewing it, making sure that it is in your system as expected. A lot of times when if you have a CRM, it might be connected to an accounting program, or it could be fully manual. But you know, just checking in to make sure that the data in your fields is what you expect. You know, if you require that an email field be filled in on a contact record, are people actually putting in the correct email address? You know, things like that. You know, does anybody have a cadence or a schedule that they check in on their data to review it?
No.
We do that quarterly. We do that quarterly,
Yeah.
which is probably not enough because it's often a hot mess, but we do it quarterly.
Yeah.
We do only because we just went live almost a year ago now with AEC 360 and had moved over from Vision, and we separated our CRM and ERP into two different platforms. So as a result, we're checking data constantly and have been, mostly because of the import, but now are people doing what they're supposed to do? But part of it is when the reports come out and everybody says, oh, those aren't my opportunities, or those clients are wrong, then we can pull up the view and look at, you know, what's wrong, why was it entered wrong, and that. For clients and contacts, from our trainings, we set up certain views for people so that they do have to go back and check to make sure all of those fields are populated correctly. The problem is for us, we don't do a ton of mandatory fields because what I have found is that people just will put in the wrong information. And so if you require an email, then they'll make up an email to be able to move on to get their project number or to get their opportunity in. And so to me, and I don't know that it's right, wrong, indifferent, it's just the way we operate. Bad data is worse for me than no data. And so I'd rather you leave it blank than put in something that's wrong. But consistently, it's why would you put in a contact without an email address or a phone number? How do we contact them? And a lot of times it's a result of, I need my project number, so I'm just going to put them in. And those types of things, the discrepancy reports of missing information, who created it, and those get sent back and sent out to say, hey, we need you to follow up and get this in. So for us, it's just kind of a rhythm that we've been forced to set up, I guess.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Okay. So I know that Nicole, you mentioned some of your company's challenges and, you know, with their data. Does anybody else have any challenges that they're experiencing with their data? Maybe a goal for strengthening in the upcoming year, or just a nice to have that they'd like to share? Yeah, go ahead, Leah.
I mean, well, first and foremost, I'm trying to spend more time on this. It's not to kind of work better for our department. There's only 4 of us in our department. Our database, oh gosh, we got Uninet, Co-Central, then became Uninet back in, I think it was 2020. So it's fairly new. It wasn't rolled out properly. There's no trainings. We have really one person sort of managing it. And that's not their full-time job. So just trying to understand it and make it work for our department better, and learning to set up reports, things that we can do, like, okay, what are the top marketing projects that have missing descriptions that we can get filled in? I don't know. I have a laundry list of like to haves, nice to haves. Another one I'm trying to figure out is how to, you know, is there a way that we can track people's involvement in memberships and things like that through the CRM? So
yeah. Well, I know we have a couple other Co-Central users on the call. Any advice or feedback? Okay, well, we'll move along. So what about automations? I know we've talked about reports, but there are ways to automate your data in most CRMs. Is anybody using any kind of automation within the existing system or maybe even a third-party application? And if you are, would you share what you're using and how you're using it?
I know we use Viewpoint to push in through our FDC. We didn't do it right out of the gates when we did it. So it pushes in, we call it like a skeleton at least. We wish it pushed in more info from accounting, but they are unwilling to match the values and stuff we have. So that's a challenge, but at least it's dollars, dates, staff, hours, which we find is very helpful that we did it. We're glad we did it, and always looking to see if there's new fields that we can bring in. We kind of vet that every year and a half. If something Co-Essentials added something new that we can link with our FDC.
What about anybody else? Anybody using any set action workflows or Power Automate, Power BI, Data Lake, any kind of
We use we have REL 360, which puts our contacts in via email scraping and our Outlook function. But then we also have an advanced merge tool that through dashboards, we're able to identify duplicates. And that we can either automate to merge those duplicates, or we do it manually as far as somebody reviewing the dashboard to say, okay, go ahead and merge those duplicate contacts together. So that is a huge thing as far as just identifying and being able to automate that. We do work off the same database as our accounting group. And so everything source of truth for us is clients and contacts in our CRM, which then pushes towards our ERP automated through our project initiation. And so ours has to be clean in order to, although we find that accounting is, this is terrible to say, but less clean than we are. We want more clean data than they do. They just want to enter them and move forward and get the contract in there. We are usually the ones that are hounding them to say, all right, so for source of truth to come from us is a real advantage for us.
That's awesome. All right. Go ahead.
Sorry, is your duplicate check, the contact check that you're using, is that a third party or is that built into your system?
It's well, it came from, so AEC 360 is Microsoft Dynamics with an architecture, engineering, construction overlay, and so HSO did the advanced merge for us. So it is part of the system and it's from them, and so it is built in as part of their implementation.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking for an external software to do duplicate checks outside of Uninet. So I was wondering.
Fantastic. This is some great participation so far. Okay, so, with all of the efforts that we do to strengthen and maintain our data, does anybody have a success story of, maybe they started the process of reviewing and, fixing their data, and then, what was the result? Do we have any, data gains if we're gonna, go on the strengthening bandwagon that we could share with the group?
Our biggest, as far as keeping clean data between clients, contacts, opportunity, our biggest push has been, for example, opportunities and the push down for when the report comes out, that's the only thing that's looked at. There is no other, okay, here's my spreadsheet because my opportunities are wrong, or here's my this, that's not right. And if it's not right on that pipeline, then you have to go back and fix your data. And so it forces them to keep the data clean. And we're in a huge push right now of, I didn't have representation on that opportunity, or it didn't show up on the pipeline. Well, then they have to go in and fix it. But if people aren't looking at those reports and that's not the report and that's not the source of truth, then there's no hope in them getting in there and identifying the errors and fixing them. But it's, you know, it's a huge push, but that's the only way that we have found success in trying to make sure that our data is correct. Because other than that, it's just people checking off a task list of, I was assigned to enter this, I'm entering it, here you go, and move on. You know, you have to have that underlying reason why. Why do they do it? Why do they need it?
Does anybody else have a similar philosophy or any kind of structures in place that kind of encourage people to be good data stewards of the system?
On that same note, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So do the majority of you have a team that enters, like, for example, clients, contacts, and updates those? Or do you let your people, for us, it's project managers, engineers, et cetera. Do you let them in it to enter clients and contacts? Or is it strictly you have a data team in place or admin team in place that only does that?
That is an excellent question.
On our side, anyone can enter anything.
Yeah, pretty much same here. Mostly our business development team and project executives, project managers, so forth. But yeah, we don't have a data team or anything like that. That would be amazing if we did, but
We have 3 of us in our group that do the majority of them, but we do have like our business development team and some others. We definitely do not let every employee do it, but there are some that do enter their own things as well. And then we do also, like, every week we send out our new list and stuff like that too. So people kind of going back to like the data checking and stuff like that too, people kind of can see what it is in those main the cost, location, what the project is, the description, that kind of stuff. So we can kind of oversee that or kind of like view them quick to see what was entered that week. But for the most part, our group does the majority of them. And then we also try to sit in on some of the meetings so that we can be updating that information or adding them as they're talking about it or as they're bringing us the new leads and stuff to put in the system.
Thank you.
Yeah, when I was at a GC, we have pretty much the marketing team did everything. We didn't allow others to enter the data. So the only data we had to really monitor coming in was through the FDC, making sure that, you know, checking for duplicates and all of that. And then did similar as far as sitting in on meetings just to get, actually we hosted the meetings to get all the data to enter. So we controlled it all. So our data was pretty clean outside of the FTC.
We do a little bit of a hybrid. So we have a team that's for the critical data inputs that. And then we do let our project manager, sales team have access to it, but there's a tiered approach. So once they show us that they know how to enter the data and enter it well, then we will unlock more features for them to be able to access. For instance, if you're new, you can't delete. There are certain fields that you can't change. So that the most critical information doesn't get corrupted by people who are not familiar with the system. And that seems to have worked pretty well.
That's great.
I'd say it's similar for us. Mainly the marketing team and business development has access to CoCentral. I don't believe we offer that for every employee, but as we receive new contact information, new project information, the marketing team mainly handles that.
So I have one more question. If you have been working on your system, did you have any aha moments where you thought of something clever that helped you? And what was that clever thing, so that we can all celebrate you? I'm actually going to call, while we're all thinking, I'm actually going to call out Leah because Leah Simpson, because she came up with a way to incorporate Microsoft Forms into a CRM that we use. So I'm going to hand it off to you, Leah, to share that, because maybe that might inspire some other ideas to share.
Sure. Yeah. So we have some forms that we have to fill out regarding our clients. And so for accessibility for our team, we added it to the dashboard so that when we need to fill out these forms, we can just go there, click on the tab, and then see the form, fill out the form directly in there. And of course, through Microsoft Forms, it automatically sends the form to other people on our team who need that information, and then that lives on SharePoint. So basically just connecting Uninet and SharePoint within the dashboard. So good data collection. Could be used as like if you needed to, if people did, and I guess I haven't really thought about using it for my clients, but I mean, it would be a good way to, if you had people in your system to do project data capture forms, right? Just have a tab like, hey, you have a new project or you need to update details on the project. You could just have that form living on their dashboard. They could just go to it, enter the project name, populate the details, press send, and it arrives to your team, whomever, or even if it was a job request form. I'm sure there's endless uses for it. I didn't think about that.
Any other unique uses or aha moments with our CRMs that anybody would like to share? Well, any questions for the group that anybody wants to pick the brains of anybody that's attending the call before we conclude?
I have a question. I heard you mentioned something about Power BI and how can that work with, let's just say, Cosential or Uninet?
Yeah, so where we've seen it work is they offer, so Uninet offers Data Lake, which is an additional, an add-on to a service contract. And by having Data Lake, then you can connect Power BI directly to your data set and create reports, or what you would call them in Cosential would be your dashboard. And you can actually make a version of those Power BI reports that can link back into your Uninet, which is actually pretty cool because Power BI has a leg up graphically on some of the widgets that are available in Uninet. So if you are connecting that way, you can actually have a fully responsive Power BI dashboard or report, however you want to call it. It's pretty neat.
Because I would like to have our like time spent on opportunities in our CRM, and they don't pull that information over for whatever reason. I still don't understand why we can't do it, but they have a Power BI for it. We can see how much time people charge on projects, but just not opportunities. And maybe it's the way they have it set up. It's a little different. That opportunity number is different than the project number, but we use Viewpoint as well for our ERP, and then that it's connected to sucks over data from.
So your Viewpoint is pushing the data into Power BI. Is that what you're
saying? No, into Uninet.
Okay,
but
using Power BI to track. What data points are you tracking in Power BI?
They're using that to track like time spent on opportunities.
Interesting.
Yeah. It seems like we should be able to do it in Uninet as well, or so. Just curious.
Yeah, the Power BI through Uninet is more so for, well, I mean, you can use it for anything. You can do resource planning through Power BI in Uninet, or you can do like all of your hit rates and like basically your business development, your business analytics would be pushed into Power BI. But essentially you could do your time. Yeah, I don't, that's typically what people are using the Power BI for. I think, and I believe you can access it through the open API or data lake either way. But the data lake is supposed to be a bit easier.
Thanks.
Any other questions for the group? All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining. We hope to see you next time. And I guess see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Courtney.